we had a challenge, as I said, or the idea of the core organization to make product-related content smart through voice assistants and chatbots. So first of all, we had to think of, okay, like product-related content. So what kind of products are we talking about? What does smart content mean? How do voice assistants and chatbots work? So basically in the team, we had a little bit of an expertise in terms of development expertise with chatbots and voice assistants, but we didn't really know how to tackle this or how to implement this in a smart and like a great innovative way for Kasha at all. So we had to start the sprint, and we thought about the customer groups, or where are the products of Kasha being used, and where is this content related towards these products relevant. In order to understand Kasha as a company or as our customer, you need to know like Kasha offers products for professional users, so those are B2B products. It might be municipality cleaning equipment, high pressure cleaners, for cleaning service companies, but also Kasha offers a lot of products for consumers. So this could be a high pressure washer again. This is what Kasha is very well known for, but also window cleaners. It could be vacuum cleaners. It could be pumps for your garden pond with little goldfishes in it. Things like this. So a very broad range, and there are different kinds of products with different content also that we identified there. In total, what you can see here for consumers only, Kasha has 16 product categories consisting of multiple product versions and variants. So what you can see here, as I mentioned, you have like vacuum robots, you have window cleaners, high pressure cleaners, you have cleaners for your terraces, steam cleaners, garden pumps, as I've already said, you name it. Like very different kinds of use cases for each of those products. When you think about content related towards these products, you might think of how do I use what do I use a high pressure cleaner for? Like typically people use that for cleaning the car or cleaning their terrace outside, on wood, on concrete. So different kinds of use cases and different kinds of applicability of this product. So a lot of how-tos connected to those products. Another good example is like steam cleaning. Where can you use this? Can you use this on just on concrete floor? Can you just use that in the bathroom? And if so, how often do you do that? Yeah, and so on. So I'm not an expert myself, but we had to go through a lot of content in order to learn how to transform or how to make this content smart. First of all, remember we were like a team of 8 in the Kasha Digital Hub. So we were not experts in those products at all, not experts in cleaning at all. Where will we get all this content and knowledge from in order to make this content smart in voice assistants or chatbots? Basically, the content was delivered by the core organization, for example, by the marketing, but also we had a look at the Kasha website or in printed manuals, in videos published on YouTube, for example, in different apps. So we looked at like a lot of different content, a lot of different kinds of statuses, and we realized like we really need to transform this content. Like sometimes recombine this content collection in order to make this available in chatbots or voice assistants. Transformation was required. In order to identify what content is, after all, interesting to the Kasha customers or interesting to transform it in a smart way, what was required there was in order to have a look at the different phases that a Kasha customer typically goes through. For that reason, usually we apply the customer journey. Here you can see one example. Sometimes you vary this customer journey approach a little bit because it doesn't apply to all cases or all ideas. This is a typical product purchasing generalized customer journey consisting of the phase awareness and information, consulting, purchase, operation, and retention. So we had a look at those phases and thought about, okay, what is relevant in the purchase phase for a customer? What kind of content is relevant if a customer wants to purchase a high pressure cleaner? Or in order to bring awareness to like a steam cleaner Kasia offers, what should we do? Like what kind of content is relevant in what cases for the users? So what we came up with is the reflection. We have a vast amount of content consisting of like content from manuals, digital content, and various endpoints that we might address because we are in such many different stages of the customer journey. In order to address this, this issue, we came up with this huge customer journey matrix. You can only see like a fraction of it basically here. We did that matrix in order to reflect, again, what kind of content is relevant to a customer in different phases on a very generic level. So the matrix consists of, at the very top, the phases of the customer journey, again, awareness, information, consulting, and so on. On the left-hand side, you see functions and capabilities the company or Kasia offers to the customers in those different phases. For example, selling services or product demonstrations or just general consulting or shipping of products and so on. Whereas in the matrix fields, like in the middle, basically, you see the content, interfaces, and endpoints. So along with the content purpose and content characteristics. So what kind of content do we need in each of those steps, in each of those matrix cells, in order to create smart content for every customer journey phase? This is the question behind that, and this is the reason why we created this customer journey matrix. Which interface, which endpoint is relevant, and what is the purpose of a particular kind of content. In order to make this a little bit more tangible for you, you can see on the left-hand side here an example. It's basically the consulting phase of the customer journey with the capability or the function capability sales and the function sells services. So the target of this content in the consulting phase or any content offered in the consulting phase in order to sell services is to set expectations and ensure predictiveness of the service offering. We execute this by provision of detailed information and options available to the customer, like in order to sell services or to buy services from the point of view of the customer. And the endpoints would be an online chat, the hotline, voice, or apps, for examples. And content characteristics, or the particular content could be here, warranty packages, maintenance repair processes explained, a calculator in order to communicate savings if you have a particular service purchase, or also very interesting Kasia hacks. Same as some of you might be familiar with IKEA hacks, Kasia, there's a little bit of a community about Kasia hacks too. So we created this matrix with the goal to translate this into the structure of a voice skill. So a voice skill typically, or typical examples for voice skills that we also work with in our projects, in our project here in the sprint was Google Home or Amazon Alexa. You can see here a structure that we came up with here for Alexa. It consists typically of intents, different kinds of skills that can be put into a hierarchy with each other. Oh, hold on. Before I'm going to go and talk about the architecture, I almost forgot about my interactive part. As you might have seen already, there's a device standing next to me. We can play around with the end result of what we came up with after we created this content matrix and after we had to go through all this content. So yeah, let's start. Alexa, öffne Kasia Info.
Sorry, I don't know that.
Alexa, Open Karcher info.
Hello, welcome to Karcher. I can help you to control your smart device or tell you something about the world of Karcher. Say device control or the world of Karcher.
The world of Karcher.
Hello, welcome to Karcher. I can provide you with exciting information about Karcher products or give you cleaning tips. I can also help you with Karcher services or tell you stories. What are you interested in?
Karcher products.
Karcher has a wide range of cleaning devices on offer. Our pressure washers are renowned across the world, and Karcher offers a range of other cleaning devices to handle any situation. What would you like to find out more about? Our pressure washers or other product range?
Pressure washers.
Karcher pressure washers can be used to quickly and thoroughly clean cars, patios, gutters, and so on. Would you like more information about our pressure washers, usage advice, or a model selector?
The model selector.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a few questions and then tell you which pressure washer best suits your needs. Let's begin. Do you need a device for light, medium, or heavy dirt?
Medium dirt.
How often would you like to use your device? Regularly or only occasionally?
Only occasionally.
Okay, let's talk about cleaning time. Is it important to you to be able to clean quickly?
Of course.
All right, then Performance Class K5 is worth considering. Let's talk about equipment. A hose reel will ensure that you can always neatly wind up your high-pressure hose. Do you need a hose reel for your pressure washer?
No.
Okay, now let's talk about the final point, the surface cleaner. This can be used to quickly clean outdoor surfaces without splashes. Would you like a pressure washer with a suitable surface cleaner?
Yes.
All right, that was the last of the questions. Here's your result. I recommend the K5 Full Control Home Pressure Washer for your application. I have sent you more information about the device in the activities section of your Alexa app. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope to see you again soon.
Nice. So basically, this is the result of what we thought of smart content. So we wanted, or we realized when we had a look at the customer journey, that customers typically struggle with selecting the right device type for themselves. So for high pressure washers, we have a various amount of product versions. So it's really, really hard to select the right high pressure cleaner that might be applicable to your home. So we thought about a model selector or like a help in order to be guided through finding the right product. And what you can see here on the slide that I'm presenting on the right-hand side is typically the way through welcome for the very top, welcome intent, launch content skill intent, then products intent, pressure washer intent towards model selector intent. And the model selector provides me further information in my Alexa app through, as Alexa said just now, through the activity in the Alexa app, where I now basically have on my phone a link that I can just open in order to get further information about the product that I might be interested in. So all this content and selecting the right product and getting more advice, by the way, there's a lot more in this skill than what I just showed to you or just went through. In order to get that, we really had to rewrite the content that we got according to the customer journey phases that I just presented earlier. So it was a lot of work with the content, but it was also a lot of work in order to come up with this, this structure that you can see here on the right-hand side for Alexa. So it was really helpful to have a team consisting of technical people or like people that are experts with voice skills, chatbots, as well as people that are designers in order to go through an according user experience. The solution architecture that we created in order to get the skill published is basically very roughly displayed here. The user activates the voice system, as I just did here. This service calls the skill kits. in this example, Alexa skill kit. The service calls a Lambda function in AWS, which again calls Contentful in order to obtain the content that I was requesting. So all the content or everything that Alexa basically just told me or answered me is stored in Contentful, which allows a great thing. It allows marketing managers and content managers to access the content without even touching any line of code or anything anything technical. So we created a structure, translated this concept in a way by the help of Contentful as a headless content management system. So marketing managers and content managers can change product information or product recommendations, as we just had seen in the product selector, without having to ask technical people or the IT department or anybody who creates a skill first. So this is a very, very important aspect of the smart content idea or smart content challenge that we had in the Kercher Digital Hub. How can we develop something that scales quickly? How can we develop something that is technology independent or endpoint independent? So any content that we'd stored in Contentful, or like the content that you see, that you just heard here, model selector, could also be integrated into other kinds of endpoints, not only into this voice system, but also into an app, for instance. So for this use case, for the creation of this voice skill, why did we use Contentful and not a classical database, for instance, or any other content management system? So to us, we played around, we did a lot of iterations with this voice skill and the chatbots that we came up with. We did not only work in one sprint of 4 weeks, we worked in about, I don't know, like altogether, I think half a year in order to develop this whole system, in order to create roles for marketing people and content managers, in order to set up this generic structure that you could that you could see for Alexa, like a generic code structure that is that can be reapplied. We used a lot of classical databases for that, and we always ended up in the same pain point. It's really hard for content editors to access this content in a database, in a classical database. So to us, it was really clear that we wanted to go to come up with something that has a user interface for the content editors and the marketing managers. Yet it had to be easy to technically integrate this with the Alexa skill set, and something that's fun for the developers too. And this is how Contentful came to our attention. Basically, we asked Contentful, hey, can we use your system? Can we get like access to your system so we can play around with it a little bit? Because we're not sure how we can create our skills, our chatbots. We're not sure, we're undecided if we're going to use a database or not. It's really easy with Contentful, so we got an access without even having to decide are we going to buy it in the end. What made us decide for Contentful was it has amazing RESTful APIs, so delivery API, management API, even a preview API, images API that's really useful for the action that I was talking about on my phone. So Alexa provides imagery even into the app. A GraphQL content API. It has a great content delivery network, CloudFront CDN. It's ISO compliant, and it's an AWS Advanced Technology partner. Remember the partner portfolio that we have, public cloud networks very well along with each other. It also had, during that time even, now it's even better, many references on an enterprise level. So like these were the main aspects having us decide or making us decide towards Contentful. But basically it was also the playing around phase. So like everybody had the chance to get used to Contentful, the developers as well as the content managers alike. So I've shown you a little bit of the structure, what we created in Alexa. So we even went, Alexa, stop. We even went through it. Just had to mute the mic there. through it in Alexa. What we also had to come up with is a content model in Contentful in order to allow a generic content editing. So what you can see here is basically the intent structure that I showed you that I was referring to when I was talking about the Alexa structure. And each intent consists of different kinds of items. So for example, a voice prompt that Alexa provides, a card that you can see on the mobile phone in the Alexa app, kind of different tips, facts about character or products, and products themselves. So this is the rough structure in Contentful that the content managers work with, and basically all the content in our chatbots and for the voice assistants are stored in that way in Contentful. So it's a generic structure again here, similar like in the Alexa skill set. To wrap up a little bit our learnings, I already said like we have gone through a lot of iterations, a lot of play. So this would be my advice also when you start, when you're not sure what means smart content, which endpoints are relevant to you. My advice is play, and then also start experimenting. Where design is king, implementation is a breeze. So the implementation part, the final implementation part, when we were sure what we wanted to create, that was quite easy. So, but coming up with the architecture, coming up with the structure, that was a little bit hard. Our interpretation of smart content is content that is really independent with its platform. It's really independent in what is being published at which point in time. So if we change something in Contentful right now, it's directly available in Alexa. We do not have to create a new skill because we have very generic structures created that allow this. So, and this required a lot of play, a lot of design in order to come up with a solution like that. That brings me to my second recommendation, apply reusable code and content structures. I'd already mentioned that. Wherever possible, this gives you a lot of flexibility towards the end. So right now it's very easy to scale the Alexa skill that we created to make it bigger, to even reduce it by some kind of content, implement new content, news, change prices without anybody having to ask us as a team in the innovation hub or like in the IT department how to do this. They can, like everybody can basically change the skill in the headless content management system in Contentful. In Capsule, never forget Symbiosis, use cases and implementation, plus keywords and content. I said generic code structures and content structures are really important, but never forget that there's still a symbiosis in between the customer journey that I said that I showed you earlier, and what basically a system like Alexa tells the user in the end. So in order to make it not feel too technical, and there's always going to be compromises, it's really important to when you encapsulate and create generic structures, that you think about what makes a generic structure feel more natural towards the user. So applying keywords or like integrating keywords or flexibility, fallback options within the skill if you need, or within the chatbot if you are in a hierarchy, for example. The beginning can be hard, but the long tail is rewarding. Our beginning was quite hard because we had to go through all this content, all these manuals, like all the websites. Then we thought about, okay, which content is required for the cashier customer or potential customer in which phase. We had to transform the content. We came up with generic content structures or like basically question answer games that users might have. And put all this in a content model in Contentful. And we now have a lot of content in Contentful that is not only being used in Alexa, but also in apps, for example, or on the cashier website, without having to touch anything again, or like not much in Contentful. So like the launch is quite rewarding of this work. Trust me, it's quite a good way to go through this challenge at the beginning. So I'm at the end of my presentation. I hope you like what I showed to you. I know it's a little bit, it's a lot of back and forth in my presentation, but I hope you liked that session. I hope everything was also understandable considering the virtual event. If you want to hit me up for questions, my email is wb@sloy.de. My name is Wolfgang. Yeah, it's a pleasure talking to you today.